Unitarian Universalist Church, building community, inspiring growth, creating change. Here in the heart of Kansas City, we come together to create this hour of shared reflection so that we might be renewed in courage for these times and inspired to lives of greater dignity, higher purpose, deeper generosity, and more effective action. May the words and music and images that we offer today nourish our best selves, calling forth abundant wisdom and love, a love that has the power to overcome both loneliness in the heart and oppression in the world. Welcome to our service.
Arise, O souls,
Good morning. I'm Don Dickey, a member of this church, and it's my privilege to welcome you here on this beautiful, sunny day after the deluge we had yesterday. Whether you are here in the room or watching online, we're glad you're here. Your presence enriches all of us and our time together. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Our tradition is a large tent with room for many beliefs and approaches to the questions that matter. It is our values of inclusion, compassion, and justice that hold us together. We seek to build the beloved community, making room for everyone and creating a world where everyone's needs are met. You may be new here this morning. Welcome. We know that your first time attending a church, you may want to keep a low profile and just check things out quietly. That's great. We're glad you're here. And if you are a visitor and excited to be here, and to let us all know that you are, we invite you to raise your hand at this time. Excellent. We've got a number of people visiting. Thank you for enriching all of us with your presence today. Whoever you are, whomever you love, Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. We invite visitors interested in learning more about Unitarian Universalism and All Souls to attend a UU Basics class after the service. This class will be held at noon in Reverend Erin's office, which is next to the main door that leads out to the parking lot. Childcare is provided in the nursery.
I have some people to thank. First, I want to thank our pianist this morning, Charles Dickinson. He was up until 3 o'clock this morning cleaning up after an event at Simpson House last night, so this is an above and beyond thing that he's doing for us. So he continues to fill in for our music director, Anthony, who fell in mid-May. He sends his greetings and asked me to tell you that he is at home recovering. The repair of the full thickness tear of his right quadricep tendon happened a week ago Thursday. And so to allow that to heal, he has to literally keep his leg straight for 6 weeks. Then he can start physical therapy. The fractured vertebrae will heal on their own without surgery. And he says that he is so happy to be out of the penitentiary, hospital. Direct quote. He also says that his charge nurse, Alistair, their dog, and his floor nurse, Scott, his husband, are an amazing team handing out lots of love. I also want to give my thanks to everyone who has participated and will participate this afternoon in our church's efforts to contribute to the Pride Festival and who were part of the Pride Parade yesterday during the deluge, at which point all of us were thoroughly soaked every possible place you could be thoroughly soaked. Most of us have shoes that are still trying to dry out. It was a wonderful thing, and there was an extra sense of defiance in continuing in that parade when the skies opened. You keep going, you keep smiling, you keep waving, and trying to tell people Happy Pride, even though they're hiding under umbrellas and porticos and looking very unhappy. But we did it, we showed up, and I am so proud of everyone. I am proud of our amazing float that is going to spend the rest of the month on the church lawn. We came together and have done something wonderful to show our full-hearted support of everyone LGBTQIA+, especially right now in this dangerous moment. These opening words are by Sharon Wiley. It is okay to be tired of change. It is okay to be tired of everything different, okay to be weary of resiliency and wholeness and learning and growth, and okay to yearn simply for rest. It's okay to be grouchy and unsatisfied and all the ordinary human ways of being that we are. Let this morning be a reminder that you are loved. Let our time together soothe what is restless in you. May you be comforted in knowing that whatever you are feeling today and other days, you are not alone. You are never alone. Come, let us worship together.
Our chalice lighting words are from Richard M. Fuchs. May the light of truth illume our minds. May the spark of love set our hearts on fire. May the flame of freedom burn brightly within us, now and always. Please stand as you are able and join in the affirmation of our covenant. Then remain standing as we join together in song. Together we affirm, goodwill is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole.
Our commitment to human fellowship means that we are called upon to be glad with those who rejoice and to weep with those who mourn. Thus, we set aside this time in our gathering to share with one another the joys and the sorrows which are now shaping our lives. May the beauty and sweetness of these brief flowers remind us to hold one another in the bonds of sympathy, encouragement, and care. For those of you who are not familiar with When We Do Sharing the Journey, I will in a moment invite those who would like to very briefly share at the microphone a joy or a sorrow from their own lives. Will be welcome to do that. You can adjust the microphone in terms of the up and down in its angle. I'll also let you know that after it seems that everyone has shared, I will ask our amazing tech staff to stop our filming directly into the live stream so that If anyone wants to share something without it living forever on YouTube, you have that opportunity to share only with the people in this room. We intentionally do this when our children are here because they are part of our worshiping community. And we have joy and sorrow with them and share it with them. But also keep that in mind as you share what is happening for you. And so I invite you forward.
I'm Scott England, and I just want to echo what Erin shared a little bit ago. This beloved community and our brethren and sistren at Smooch and Gaia have made this one of the best weeks in a long time in coming together from, we're going to get a booth, we're going to walk in the parade. No, we're going to have a float in the parade. It's going to be 8 feet tall and a rainbow-colored heart with bubbles. Pride would not have happened without this community and everybody who has helped support, volunteer, donate, everything. So I am so proud and so grateful for all of you.
This is kind of a joy. I don't know if I'd quite put it in that category, but for a long time, I've been kind of looking for an issue that both the right and the left can come together on and work on together. And I think there's more than one out there right now, because there's a lot of cracks in the conservative coalition right now. And one of them has to do, and I will also say that I believe in a hierarchy of needs. I believe that certain issues overwhelm everything else, the biggest one being, of course, the sixth extinction. But I think right behind that is protecting democracies. And democracies are not just threatened inside our country. There's wars going on. And of course, I think you've all been following I hope most of you have been following what's going on in Ukraine. And that's one that there's no question on which side you want to be on. There's one side that bombs schools and orphanages, and there's one side that bombs military targets. Right now, the Congress is considering, and it is considering sanctions on Russia. And even if you've never written to a Republican congressperson before because you don't think it will do any good, this is a change in that. There's a very good possibility that sanctions against Russia, which can make a big difference because Russia's economy is in trouble, and putting pressure there will help. So I encourage you all to consider that. Thanks.
I'm Jean Patterson, and I just want to express a concern. George Baggett's son, Nathan, has had a whole lot of physical problems. He is home now, but is still not out of the woods. And George is really struggling with all the care that's involved. So let's be thinking of George.
Hello, my name is Jamie Taylor. I also have a concern. My little baby cousin, now he's almost 4 months. His father tried to step over a baby gate holding the baby, and he fell, and the baby hit his head. And they're just trying to get him home from the hospital and get him meds and food, and it's very scary. So the lesson is, don't step over a baby gate. I don't know how many people, I was taught that in high school. I don't know who else doesn't know that, but you always have to be very, very careful when you are holding babies.
So it is with my absolute elation, beyond joy, that Haley Sylvester, who was our old sound person and has since graduated with their master's and moved back home to New York and gotten married and is doing all these horrible things without me, that they are here today and that I get to enjoy their company.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Hildebrand. I'm a frequent visitor here, and I want to share a joy and a hope from my life recently. I get to have the great fortune of working with really incredible organizations through my work. And this past weekend, I was with World Central Kitchen. They're an organization that feeds people. They're in Ukraine, in Gaza. Right now, they're in Canada with the wildfires. And it instilled me with so much hope to work with those leaders and the people in the organization, and knowing that there are people that are doing incredible, gracious, kind, courageous things despite what we're hearing. And I just wanted to share that with you, that fills me with so much hope, and it's a reminder that people are doing the right thing despite what we're hearing so much of these days.
I'm Julie Rollet, and I have too many concerns for the time that we have, so I'm not going to get into those. Instead, I want to remind all of us that we can have gratitude for these nursing rains, which are making Mother Nature so abundantly obvious to all of us, and that I hope we can take comfort from that to offset the other things.
My name is Tiffany, and I am a very proud mother of two amazing children, and I'm so glad that the families are all in here, because I hope this was such a proud mom moment for me. My children were both raised in the UU Church, and we all have things that our kids hear us say over and over and over again, and my kids were giving me a hard time about it a few weeks ago, because I always said, you have to mean not to. If they would leave the light on, wasn't supposed to. They'd be like, I didn't mean to. You have to mean not to. So they were giving me grief about it and saying, I know, Mom, you have to mean not to. And I said, well, it actually means something. And my son, who's 18, said, I know, Mom, it's not enough. It's not enough to just not be a racist. You actually have to fight for social justice. And to have that come full circle is a direct result of being raised in this church. And I'm so incredibly proud to be a part of it. So.
I'm John Maher, and I'm scared, like most of us are, about how permanent the damage is going to be, and if there's enough people that they're just going to elect another one, and it's not just a matter of waiting 3.5 years, and it all goes through my mind. And I find myself during the week humming 2 lines from a hymn here, and I can't remember which one it is, but it's those 2 lines that go, I'll give you hope when hope is hard to find. And that's what I get out of this place. And it was a good morning for me to be a greeter. Thanks a lot.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shannon. Some of you know me. Some of you have probably seen me. I started coming here last year before breaking my ankle. Can you hear me now? Okay. I started coming here last year before breaking my ankle, and spent time on my couch, lost my job, went through a lot. Recently lost where I was living. But amazingly, this isn't the first time of being in this situation, but it is the first time in my life where I have people who I am talking to who are keeping me supported, who are reminding me
what I am fighting for and what future I want to see. And that's why I keep fighting. And I just want to thank all of you for being such a great community, because it has been hugely uplifting to me being a part of it.
Mika, will you please? Thank you. Let's bring the live stream back, and we will read together our response to our sharing. Oh, right. I needed my script. I place one final flower that is a very important flower, and it signifies everything in each of our hearts, our minds, and our spirits that we did not speak aloud this morning, but are there none the same. And now please read aloud with me our words of response written by Jan Carlson Bull. Love is knotted and gnarled, like an old tree fighting with the wind, like branches too brittle for their own good, like roots that relentlessly inform how deeply we can trust and how freely we can give. Thank you. And we will sing our children to their classes.
My name's Barbara Griggs, and I'm a member of All Souls. Recently, I've been running a bunch of numbers. Not what you might be thinking. I have no responsibility for making this church's budget balance, thankfully. The numbers I've been mulling on have been years. Peter and I just marked being married for 53 years. And I was noticing that for almost exactly half those years, we've been members of All Souls. 26 and a half years since we walked into this room for the first time and found ourselves at home. So much has changed over those 26 and a half years. Our son, Matt, was 14 when we joined. He didn't attend RE here. He was too old for RE. But 2 years later, he attended the very first Harry Potter camp we had, which was founded by Reverend Jim Eller. 10 years after that, Matt and Courtney were married by the wise and gentle Reverend Jennifer Brooks. I think the very last Harry Potter camp was held 20 years after our entry into this community. Last week, we celebrated several of our graduates, and I realized they're about the last of the kids who knew me when they were little only as Professor Sprout. No idea I had like a real name, a muggle name. It's been about 2.5 years since Reverend Erin graciously answered our call, for which we'll be deeply grateful. And 2 weeks ago, we said goodbye to Kendall, a bittersweet change for all of us as she moves into retirement. So many members have moved on out of our lives and for many out of this life. People we admired, emulated, aspired to be like. And I'm grateful for the number of elders who are still here for us, still showing us how to live a good life. I used to plan that when I grew up, I would join Demeter's. It didn't work out. Recently, Demeter's retired. So many changes, and yet every Sunday, we come here and we're home. It's been almost 24 years since we came into this room to huddle together after unimaginable tragedy and thought, life will never be the same. That sinking feeling echoed the feeling I had personally almost 62 years ago when I understood that someone had killed the President of the United States. And things would never be the same. In March, 5 years ago, the last service before we shut down to avoid the spread of COVID, we knew nothing would ever be the same. And when we reopened, we saw it was true. It wasn't the same, but we were here, and All Souls was here for us. Every week now, when I see the kids coming forward for the story, my heart swells because I remember those first months after we opened, when many weeks it was only Maggie and Foster, my two oldest little ones, coming forward. And now I can't even count how many lively, energetic, questioning little folks we have. It's not quite the same, but here we are, and All Souls is here for us. Every big change, we say, things will never be the same. And we're right, they aren't. But somehow the things that matter persist. Through all the changes in our lives, All Souls has been here, a home. In the interest of the persistence of All Souls, the offering will now be gratefully received.
Sometimes things are especially meaningful and uplifting. We've just had it from the introduction to the offering, and this phenomenal piece, phenomenally performed. Please join me. Please join me in the dedication of our offering. We dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build a respectful, caring community, to inspire personal and spiritual growth, and to create change toward a just and compassionate society.
No One Tells You by Carrie McDonald. There There was a period in my life when, within 3 months, all my major relationships changed. The most joyous of these was getting married. Sarah and I had dated for 3.5 years, and I proposed to her at our holiday party. People tend to shine the spotlight on proposals, which makes them seem as if they happen all at once, but really they take much longer. I decided a year prior that I wanted to be married to Sarah and spent a year in discernment. For all the relationship advice out there, it's impossible to find anything helpful on the most basic decision of all, whether to commit to spend the rest of your life with someone. We married in the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbus, where we were both active members, surrounded by friends and family who loved us so dearly. It served as a fitting goodbye because we moved across the country 2 weeks later. They say that moving is one of the most stressful transitions of life, but that misses the point. The stressful part isn't the saying goodbye or the move itself. It is the ripping of your life away from its roots, and it plays out over months and years. Setting new life patterns, finding new friends, these things take time and require soul work. You have to go out and make them happen. No one tells you that. 2 months after we moved, my parents, who had been married for 31 years, called us up on a Sunday afternoon and said, in a matter-of-fact sort of way, that they were getting divorced. I grieved, as I hadn't grieved for anything or anyone before, over the loss of our nuclear family. Here again, the 1.67 gazillion metric tons of advice in self-help books were totally useless for an adult child of divorcing parents. Surely, I can't be the only one. Like moving, my parents' divorce started with a dramatic shift, but the real change and struggle occurred over time. It forced me to question the assumptions upon which I had based my life. Should I make sacrifices for my career? Or should my partner's needs sometimes take priority? How can I raise a family and still maintain my own well-being or my marriage? Is there such a thing as security? How do we keep in touch with that which is deepest and most profound in us? When I imagined what all these transitions would mean, I focused on my relationships with other people. Yet the most profound changes have been the internal ones that touched the core of my being and belief. Re-examining the principles that guide my life has given me a new take on my constantly evolving understanding of the person I want to become and the relationships I want to have. It has been a labor of love, if sometimes a lonely one. No one said it would be easy, and this time, they were right.
The leaf unfurling in April the second and third readings as we remember people who are standing up in resistance in Los Angeles right now. Still Queer in America by Becky Brooks. We were erased and still we loved. We were shamed and still we loved. We were expelled and still we loved. We were laughed at and, well, still we loved. We were hunted and still we loved. We were sacrificed. Still we loved. We were marketed and still we loved. We were legislated and still we loved. We were murdered and still we loved. We were murdered and still we love. The second reading is Anais Nin's Risk. And then the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom.
Thank you, Scott England, for providing the prompt for this sermon. It was the poem that you just heard. Scott won the opportunity to give me a prompt for the sermon at the church auction, so think about it for next year. The police showed up on June 28th, 1969, without warning, and beat up and arrested the people enjoying themselves in the bar. They dragged people out, handling them roughly. An officer hit a woman over the head while pushing her into the police car. And those who had escaped out of the front door, because there was no other exit, along with others in the neighborhood, watched this in horror. It was brutal. It was violent. And their anger burst through as they shouted and threw pebbles and stones at the police. The stories tell us that those who began to fight back first were Black trans women. Their anger and response drew others, and the ensuing riot lasted for 6 days. This pivotal moment sparked the gay rights movement's sudden, significant growth. This moment led to the efforts that eventually established Pride. The Stonewall Inn was one of several gay bars in the Greenwich Village during the 1960s, and they were all essentially illegal. Some of the weird laws designed to keep LGBT folks in the closet included it being illegal for two people of the same sex to dance together. A person must wear at least 3 pieces of clothing that matches their gender assigned at birth. It was illegal to serve alcohol to LGBT people. So gay bars arose that were willing to take the risk. Police raids were a standard expectation, so most of the gay bars in Greenwich Village at the time were run by mafia families, including the Stonewall Inn. Because the mafia made it work by paying off the police who accepted bribes. Now, while they couldn't stop police raids from happening, a bribed officer might give them warning. And the mafia used a little rule that people could bring their own alcohol to a private event or club to get around having to have a liquor license. So people had to actually write their names in a book when they paid the entry fee to get in. Most of these bars just didn't allow dancing. But the Stonewall Inn did allow dancing. And it was relatively inexpensive, allowing teenagers who had been kicked out of their homes to beg enough during the day to spend the evening at the bar. So it was a busy place. And actually, it had just been raided 3 days prior, with little consequence because they'd gotten that forewarning. But on June 28th, there was no warning. The police simply burst in. They went after the inn itself for the alcohol, and they started arresting the patrons for same-sex dancing. There was a woman officer who took the drag queens and trans women into the bathroom to check genitalia, and then arresting them for wearing feminine clothing. The police manhandled everyone. They beat them. All because people were being themselves in ways that didn't fit societal expectations, and not to mention control. All because, for the patrons at that and every other gay bar at the time, the risk to stay in the closet and to hide was more painful than the risk it took to go to the gay bar, to dress in drag, to start a riot. And then the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk that it took to blossom. Your heart knows this poem, even if you've never heard it before. You know the pain and the risk of remaining tight in a bud, and you know the risk to blossom. Some little way that a part of you that was impossible to keep so tightly held, so restricted, that you had to let it open up, to release who you truly are, to let go of what is impossible to maintain, to open yourself, to open your heart. I spent 40 years of my life desperately trying to fit myself into the mold of what most people are like. I pushed myself so hard, trying to do everything, seeking perfection, and trying so hard to act like other people because I wanted to fit in and be liked. I knew I was different, because I liked different things and I didn't care for whatever it was that was popular. I avoided situations with a lot of people or a lot of noise unless I pushed myself to act like everyone else and do it. And it never felt right. And I got exhausted. I kept burning out, even though I didn't really have the language to name it. I just hit this point where I couldn't anymore. I think a lot of us learned important things about ourselves during the pandemic lockdown. That maybe we like domestic tasks more than we'd thought. That baking thing. That there is room in our lives for quiet and alone time. And for some, that being trapped away from everyone else is a personal hell. Not me so much, but this might have been you. For me, it was a time when I could start wondering about being different. It was a time when so many of us turned to social media to connect in any way whatsoever. And it was a time when people were using social media to start talking out loud about neurodivergence. So suddenly there were graphics about common ADHD traits. There were reposted threads about how autism looks very different in people assigned female at birth than those assigned male at birth. And my friends reposted these to point out how familiar the descriptions felt. and they were familiar to me too. Started to wonder whether terms like ADHD or autistic might apply to me, because what else did I have to spend my time thinking about? And then I got diagnosed autistic. I confirmed that I am different and have always been different. I learned why I kept always burning out, because I've lived life in hard mode, trying to portray myself as if I weren't different, pushing myself hard when I was already overwhelmed because I must do everything. And as I accepted more of this about myself, the more I could let go of trying to be someone I wasn't. I still try to fit in as best I can, but I'm not hiding. And I'm finding ways to take better care of myself by accepting that I am different. Because I can't expect myself to do it all. And then the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk to blossom. The day came when the federal government deployed the National Guard to disperse a peaceful protest. When the truth of our history was denied. When great, bold, brave leaders were erased. When naval ships were renamed because they had honored women, people of color, or a gay rights leader. When brilliant people leading our country lost their jobs because they weren't straight white men. When service members lost their commission because they were trans. When law enforcement officers needed to cover their faces and hide their agencies because they knew their raids and arrests of law-abiding immigrants were illegal and wrong. The day came, and I found myself tightly wrapped within myself as a tiny bud, unable to risk organizing for justice, because I don't think I'm going to be good at it. Because there's risk, not only for me, but for all of you. Because the worry of failure is too painful to believe that I could actually do it. And it is so painful feeling my heart break with each new thing in the news, with each right that has been eroded away, with a government exerting ever more control in the name of freedom. With the hatred that has consumed discourse and policy. This is not the country I can support. This does not uphold my values. What happened to generosity, equity, transformation, interdependence, plurality, justice? Our world, like our faith, needs to hold love at the center. And I feel my pedals pushing against their own tightness, pushing against the fear and the worry, pushing against the desire to keep things comfortable and the same, pushing against everything that doesn't think it is possible. It hurts. It hurts to stay closed, to focus on other things while the back of my mind screams that nothing is okay. The risk is great. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how to do it. I can't do it alone. Is this the day? Is this the day that came when our church, when all of its leaders and members chose to take the risk of blossoming, to actively create the change for a just and equitable society as we state in our mission? Is this the day All Souls risked bold activism? Some of you will get this. Do we have friends everywhere? This might be the day, and there is no way that I can do this alone. I need you to see who is already doing the work and tell me I need you to accept that we must risk if we are to face the pain that is building inside of us. I need you to be with me in this, not only in this moment, but next week and next month, in the fall. I need you to take leadership with me. All Souls has been a force for justice and equity in the past, and it fell a bit by the wayside. It happens. People stopped being willing to lead. People stopped showing up. We lost energy struggling through the pandemic lockdown that just didn't come back when we returned to gather here. I need you to tell me what issues are most important for us as an entire church community to take on. I can be ready if you are. And then the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Let us find the courage to do something about the pain and take on the risk to break our hearts open, to stop hiding. And with the courage of the protesters at Stonewall and the power of the abolitionists and the resolve of the civil rights activists, let us become the force for love, compassion, and democracy that we can be. Let us boldly tell everyone in our community and beyond that they are deserving, worthy, wonderful people who belong and contribute so much to our interdependent garment of mutuality. Let us protect those who need our protection. Let us speak out for human dignity. Let our love wash over everyone through our tangible action. You are loved. You are not alone. Please join in singing our next song, How Could Anyone?
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than a whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
We release this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May the day come when, despite the risk, acknowledging the pain, that you blossom in the greatest love.